Welcome back to Midco Sports tonight. Well, we just saw the high school picks for North Dakota. Now here in Sioux Falls, we have some more special guests to help make this week's picks in South Dakota. And for that, we'll send it over to Jandy.
Thanks, Kelly. It is South Dakota high school football playoff time. We're going to make some picks here. I'm joined by Brian Henshin of the Argus Leader Media and Craig Maddock, of course, Sioux Falls Sports Radio, KWSN. And let's get into some picks, guys. We got 9-man classes and 11B into their playoffs already this Thursday. Let's start with 9B. Any games that pop off the page for you here? I've got all my picks chalk. What do you guys got?
I do too. Yeah. I've got it going as it should to the higher seed. I think the closest game though could be Scotland and Burke South Central. I think those two could be a pick 'em on that one, but I still think the higher seed. I think Scotland's going to win on that one.
You have Coleman Egan going to defend their state title in a different class, but other than that, I don't really see necessarily anything too terribly exciting from the 9B class.
In 9A, we've got the same setup with region play this week, and then we reseeded for next week's quarterfinals. Again, I don't have anything other than the higher seeds winning here. A couple interesting games, though. We've got Britton Hecla taking on Clark Willow Lake, Avon taking on Alcester Hudson. Any comments on any of those games?
I agree with you that the higher seed I have winning, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be, including out west with Timberlake and New Underwood, two teams that I think could be a really close game, because there could be two of the top 8 right now that are in the top seeds that could get knocked out.
Britton Hecla, one of the two matchups there with a winning record, them and Clark Willow Lake, and the New Underwood Timberlake, only two matchups there with winning records.
I think Britton Hecla's a team to watch out for in this entire class. Clark Willow Lake stumbled a little bit coming down the end of their schedule, and I think Britton Hecla may be a little underrated in this class. That's my take. 9AA, once again, a lot of favorites here, but I do have a couple of upsets I'm going to bring up, and then I'll let you guys bring up if you have any upsets. I've got Garrettson actually giving Hamlin a game and actually upsetting them. I've got a 4 over a 1. Garrettson has played a lot tougher schedule coming down the pike, and just got done taking care of a really good Canastota Freeman team. Baltic I have winning, and then those are the only two upsets I have in the first round. What do you guys get?
I like Baltic over Arlington Lake Preston. Baltic's one of those teams that can grind it up, they can chew up some clock, and as we saw in their game against Garrettson, if it comes down to a last-second field goal, they got a kid with one heck of a leg there that could swing things for them.
Baltic, Arlington Lake Preston could be the winner of that game, would take on the top seed, which would be Hamlin, if Hamlin wins. Now, I agree with you. Hamlin does have a fairly soft schedule because they play a lot of those teams up in the northeast part of the state that don't have right now don't have very good football programs.
North Border plays Wolsey-Wessington. Wolsey-Wessington, though, hasn't played a very easy schedule either, with Gregory, Miller, Highmore, Harold, and Bonham all lined up from that.
I think they've improved since day one of the season, too. Another team that maybe could get something done. I think Irene Wakanda Parkston could turn out to be a really good game, too. Parkston comes in 4-4 record, but some of those losses, Bonham, Gregory, Miller, Highmore, Harold, I mean, they've had some really tough games weaved into their schedule as well, so those are games definitely watching for. Let's move on to 11B now, where we have a couple other interesting matchups. I have a couple upsets here. I'll start with mine, and I think Craig and I agree. Mobridge Pollock is a team to watch for, even though they lost earlier this year to Roncalli by 1 point. They have a rematch coming up, and you think Lee Deadwood might get a win against Red Cloud.
Those two teams did play, I think it was first game of the season, but I think Lee Deadwood is on a team that's on a roll right now. Red Cloud, one of those teams, again, when they play all the West River schools, you have to look at where everybody has set after the regular season is done. And I think Lee Deadwood is a team that has a chance to take out Red Cloud.
What do you see in 11B, Brian?
Stanley County, just a fun fact to know and tell, they have the unfortunate distinction of playing winter, coming off of both of its losses over the past couple of years. So that one's probably not going to be too fun for them. Sioux Falls Christian in a rematch with Canton, that one kind of got off to a weird start with a 4-0 lead there for the Chargers. Maybe it plays out like that again. I kind of doubt it, but that's maybe one to keep an eye on as well.
Interesting that Sioux Falls Christian is second in their region and also second in the entire class. So that region puts up some really interesting teams. Anything else to look out for in the playoffs?
You know, weather's not going to play a problem at all this week. Always we figure out rain, wind, snow, windy. You can't pass the ball, but it's going to be great. Teams that like to throw the ball will have a pretty good time on Thursday night.
If I may, Argus All Access this week will be out in Gregory. Not as much for the matchup necessarily. They're playing Elkin Lake Benton in one that's probably going to be a little lopsided, but the small town football experience, we got to go out there yesterday and check out some of the things that they have there. We hung out with Steve, the mayor of Gregory, who's also the team statistician, and he helps build houses. So it's going to be a fun and unique experience out there in Gregory for sure.
All three of our picks will be on midcosn.com. Click on the blog. You'll be able to check in and see our picks every week. I believe you will have that online as well, Brian, and we can check in throughout the rest of the playoffs on our picks. Back to you, Kelly.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Now remember, even though the South Dakota high school games are on Thursday night this week, Varsity Sports Live will still be at its normal time on Friday night with all the coverage from across the Dakotas. When we come back, a Sioux Falls Roosevelt player showcases his off-the-field skills with some magic tricks. Learn all about Demario Hester and his unique talent in just a few minutes.